And now, it's time for the Ford Advantage, presented by Maritime Ford, home of the 1% rule.
Maritime Ford, Lincoln Mercury. It's time for Maritime.
This is Steve Lawson from Maritime Ford. You may have heard me on Money Talks this year, and now that my appearances on that show are over, I really wanted to figure out a way to keep in touch with WOMT's listeners. So we came up with this little 5-minute radio show that we're going to do every week at this time. I'll be discussing everything from weekly promotions and events to the newest vehicle technologies and safety equipment to why Ford is frankly better off for not having burdened taxpayers with federal assistance this year like some other car makers had to. But today I'm going to be discussing quality, because if there's one major misconception about Ford out there, it's that our quality pales in comparison somehow to the imports. Now, I'll grant you that not so long ago that was the case. I mean, all I have to do is mention Firestone tires on a Ford Explorer, and I think we all remember that fiasco. But you know, the real sign that a company is striving to be the best they can be is when they learn from their mistakes. And if you think about it, have you heard about a single Ford quality issue in the past several years? I mean, Toyota's been going through recalls lately like they're going out of style, and in the meantime, Ford's been creeping up the list of every quality survey out there, so much so that they are now in a statistical dead heat with both Toyota and Honda. Industry experts would have laughed at this notion just a couple years ago, but here we are. Okay, so here's a stat I guarantee you haven't heard. Ford Motor Company has the most 2009 top safety picks than any other manufacturer. We have 15 total vehicles that the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety gave their highest marks to. Now, I don't know many people that would equate Ford and safety together, but right now we're leading the pack, and some of this new technology, it's so cool. They have a new system called BLISS, which stands for Blind Spot Information System. They put radar in the front and back bumpers that can tell when a vehicle is in your blind spot, and then the system lets you know with a little light that turns on your side mirrors. You know, it's the kind of thing that you'd never notice unless you happen to need to change lanes, and then you can instantly tell if someone's in your blind spot. Now, if that's not slick enough, the same radar is used for what Ford calls adaptive cruise control. This lets you set your cruise like you normally would, but then if someone in front of you were to slow down, the radar immediately does the same for your vehicle. And then my favorite part is that when the traffic clears again, the system brings you right back up to the original speed you set, and all this happens without you ever touching a pedal. Now, in all honesty, this was the kind of stuff that just a few years ago GM would have come up with and we would have copied. Instead, we're now pioneering this kind of stuff, and other companies are copying us. Here's another fact I bet you didn't know. Ford makes the most fuel-efficient midsize sedan in this country, the Ford Fusion, and its counterpart, actually, the Mercury Milan. Better than a Toyota Camry, Steve? Yep. It can't be better than the Honda Accord. Oh, yeah, there. Hey, you betcha. I always get a kick out of that General Motors commercial that says, let the best car win, because I'm pretty sure Ford already did that. You know, the bottom line is that you just can't rest on your laurels anymore if you want to compete in the American automobile industry. Just a few years ago, GM and Chrysler, they were on top of the world, wildly profitable, and now here they are weeks removed from bankruptcy. Where I give Ford a ton of credit is for having the foresight to invest in research and development when everyone else was shrinking in an attempt to break even. So I guess if there's one thing I want to leave you with today, it's that Ford is now a market leader, not because everyone else around them crumbled, but because of a game plan and an attitude that began several years ago. You got to come and take our new Taurus for a test drive. I don't care if you just bought a vehicle. You got to see what Ford has done to this Taurus. It has the technology of a BMW, the sophistication of a Lexus, and the quality of you guessed it, a Ford. Have a great day, and thanks for your time.
You've been listening to the Ford Advantage, presented by Maritime Ford, home of the 1% rule. Don't forget to tune in again next Monday morning at 11:15 for another edition of the Ford Advantage with Steve.
It's time for Maritime. Maritime Ford, Lincoln Mercury. It's time for Maritime. It's time to come and see the Maritime difference. To put the fun back in the buying experience. Maritime Ford, Lincoln Mercury, where you got a friend in us. Maritime Ford.